Okay, so this is where we left off yesterday. I'm going to finish up the last few examples here. So the first thing, remember you're drawing the negative 240 degree angle. Remember when you draw in this angle, you're going to go clockwise. So we're going to start here on the initial side. I'm going to go around 90, 180, and then to get to 240, I need to go 60 degrees more. Now, remember when you're drawing these large angles, you need to show how you're swirling around and put that arrow at the end to show the direction. Now, in order to find cosine of negative 240, remember we're going to turn this into a triangle. So we're going to make a right triangle here. It's a 60 degree reference angle. So remember the signs in quadrant 2 are negative, positive. So when I go to add my numbers in, across from or opposite the 60 is the root 3. The hypotenuse is 2, and then this leg is 1. Signs are negative, positive, so I'm going to make the 1 negative. So cosine, remember it uses adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent is negative 1, and the hypotenuse is 2. So this answer would be negative 1 over 2. Example 5. Now we're doing the secant of 210. So again, we're going to draw in a 210 degree angle. It's positive, so I'm going to go counterclockwise. So I'm going to start here, 90, 180, and then to get to 210, I need to go 30 degrees more. So this would be my 210 degree angle. This is my 30 degree reference angle. Remember when you make your triangle, you're making it with the x-axis, not the y-axis. So it's a 30, 60, 90, so I need to add in my 1, 2, root 3. So across from the 30 is 1, the hypotenuse is 2, and across from the 60, which is here, is the square root of 3. Remember that in quadrant 3, the signs are negative, negative. So I'm going to put a negative 1 and a negative root 3. For secant, this is going to be hypotenuse over adjacent. So this will be 2 over the square root of negative 3. And then from here, I need to rationalize. And then I get negative 2 root 3 over 3. Okay, cotangent of 135. So again, I'm going to draw my 135 degree angle. Again, it's positive, so I'm going counterclockwise. So I'm going to go 90 and then 45 degrees more. Now, if it's easier for you to take the 135 and subtract each one as you're moving along, this tells me that I need to go another 45 degrees. So again, when you make your reference angle and create your triangle, it's going down to the x-axis. So this is a 45 degree reference angle. Remember here the sides are 1, 1 and square root 2. Signs in quadrant 2 are negative, positive. So this one is negative. So in reference to the 45 degree angle, my side that's adjacent to it, so cotangent uses adjacent over opposite. So the side adjacent is negative 1. The side opposite is positive 1. So the answer to this is negative 1. Okay, number 7. Again, a 210 degree angle. So again, let's go around. We'll go 90, 180, and then 30 degrees more and create the 210. So we'll start here, 30 degrees more, and it creates the 210 degree angle. So again, here is my reference angle. It's 30 degrees. And again, you make your right triangle with the x-axis. So again, the side across from the 30 is the 1. The hypotenuse is the 2. And then the side across or opposite the 60 is the square root 3. Again, signs in quadrant 3 are negative, negative. So negative 1, negative square root 3. Cosecant uses hypotenuse and opposite. The hypotenuse is 2. The side opposite is going to be -1. So the cosecant of 210 is -2. All right, now we're going to draw a -510 degree angle. This time I'm going to have to go around I'm going to go around once and then a little bit more. So to figure out how many times I go around, let me go ahead and add 360. And then once I do that, I get -150. I still have to go around again because I'm trying to get an angle that's in between 0 and 360. That's where I want to be. So then once I do this, I get 210. So in order to do this, again, it's negative. So I'm going to go clockwise. So I'll go a full circle. That's 360. So if you wanted to do it this way and see what you're adding to get to the next one, then if I go a little bit more, I go 90. I'm still not at 510, I'm at 450. And then realize you need to go 60 more, and that's what I would draw here. So then my reference angle here is 30 degrees. So then again, add in your numbers. Across from the 30 is 1, hypotenuse 2, across from 60, √3. Again, I'm still in quadrant 3, so negative, negative. Sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite is -1, hypotenuse is 2. Notice if I were to have just done a -50 degree angle, sine of -150 is going to be the same answer because it's got the same terminal side. And this is what's going to lead us up to what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting more than one answer in the last part of today's notes. All right, now we're going to do tangent of -1020. I'm going to go around a bunch of times here. So I'm going to take my 1020. Now, when I add these 360s, this is giving me my reference angle. So if I take and add 360, I get -660. I still don't have an angle in between 0 and 360, so I'm going to do it again. And I get -300. I do it one more time. And notice I get a +60 reference angle. So let's go ahead and figure out how many times we're going to go around. So again, it's a negative angle. So I'm going to go around one time, 360. Another time, I'm now at 720. So I could keep adding to see where I'm at. And then to get to 1020, I'm going to go another 300 degrees. Bless you. So I'm going to go around and then stop here. So this would give me my -1020. So when I did this, I went another 270 plus 30, so this is 30 here. So my reference angle is 60, which is what I got here. Make your triangle. Again, across or opposite the 60 is the square root 3. Across from the 30 or opposite the 30 is the 1, and then the hypotenuse is here. I'm in quadrant 1, so my signs are positive, positive. Tangent is going to use opposite and adjacent. The side opposite of 60 is √3, and the side adjacent is 1. So this answer would be the square root of 3. All right, so tomorrow we're going to be working with the calculator. So we'll test our calculator for values tomorrow to make sure we're in degrees and not radians. All right, so now what we're going to be doing is instead of them giving me, say, sine of 30, and then I draw the angle and get the fraction, now they're going to give you the answer and you have to figure out the angle measure. Now, when we do this, we're going to be getting two answers. Unless it's plus minus, then we're going to get 4. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Now, we're going to be referencing the right triangles. So again, you need to memorize the side lengths of the 30, 60, 90 and the 45, 45, 90. Now, when you're doing these problems, the clue is going to be the square root of 2 or the square root of 3. As soon as you see that you have a square root of 2 in your problem, you know you're using the 45, 45, 90 right triangle. And your reference angle is going to be 45. When you see a square root of 3 in the problem, then you know you're going to use the 30, 60, 90. But for that one, you need to figure out which is your reference angle. Is it the 30 or is it the 60? And we're going to see how we're going to do this. So for this one, it's got square root of 2. So that's a clue that I'm using this one, the 45, 45. So my reference angle here is the 45 degrees. However, what we're going to do is pull this fraction apart and figure out what these numbers are. So cosine, recall, is adjacent over hypotenuse. So if I've got root 2 over 2, obviously this has been a rationalized answer. So what I'm going to do here is figure out what adjacent and hypotenuse should have been. So here is my 45. So if I do adjacent and hypotenuse, what really went in was this, adjacent over hypotenuse. Once I rationalize it, then it's the answer that I started with. So our goal here is to find what our reference angle is. And our reference angle here is 45. Really, you don't need to go through this process because as soon as you see root 2, the only reference angle we can get out of that triangle is the 45. However, there is more than just one answer here because we have 4 quadrants. All students take calculus. Now, to figure out the other angle, or the other angles, 45 is just my reference angle. From there, I have to figure out the other 3 angles. So in quadrant 1, the angle is 45. To get the angle measure in quadrant 2, I take 180 and I subtract 45, and I get 135. In quadrant 3, I'm going to take the reference angle and add it to 180. So this would be 225. And then in quadrant 3, 360 minus 45, and that gives me 315. Now, of these 4 angle measures that I just calculated, I have to figure out where in which quadrant is cosine positive. So I know that cosine is positive in quadrant 1 and also in quadrant 4. So my 2 answers are 45 and 315. Now, yes?
I don't understand. What's under S and T?
So these are the angle measures when your reference angle is 45. So if on your calculator, if you did the sine of 45, it's going to give you the answer of square root 2 over 2. If you did sine of 315, it's going to give you square root 2 over 2.
I thought that was a 45.
It is. But the reference angle, so if I were to draw this, 315 would be about here. And then again, remember, we're trying to find the fastest way back.
So 315 would be like as if like the number we get to make the circle too.
Uh-huh.
But then how do we know to use 360 for that? Like,
Okay, so the formula is the same to figure out. So let me tell you there's going to be 3 scenarios that we're going to be getting for the 4 angle measures. So if our reference angle is 45, then the 4 choices for angles are these, and those are the calculations I just did. If it happened to have been a 30, 60, 90, and let's say our reference angle is 30, then the four angles that we would get would be 180 minus 30, so this one would be 150, 180 plus 30, and this one's going to be 210, 360 minus 30, and it would be 330.
So why'd you use 360 for that one and not for the other one? Or combined?
I did use 360 here. 360 minus 45 is 315.
No, for the, like, for,
So it's either in quadrant 1, it's going to be from the 45, 45, or if it's the 30, 60, 90, this is going to be either a 60 or a 30. So these are our three options that we're going to be working with, depending on which triangle we get or which reference angle. So for the 60, again, I'm going to subtract it from 180 and I get 120. I'm going to add 60 to 180 and I get 240. And here I'm going to subtract it from 360 and get 300. So these are going to be my answer choices, or these are going to be the possible angles that my answers are going to be, all referencing those triangles. If this same problem, if instead the answer was find cosine of theta when it's negative root 2 over 2, then that's when I'm going to look to see which quadrants cosine's negative. So in that particular problem, then it would be the 135 and the 225. All right, so for this one, we want cosine of negative square root 3 over 2. Again, as soon as you see a square root of 3, this is telling me it's the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So let's draw it. Let's label the sides. Across from the 60 is the square root of 3. Across from the 30 is 1. And the hypotenuse is 2. So for this one, again, we could do our all students take calculus. Now, I need to figure out, is my reference angle, the angle I'm going to start with in this box, is it the 30 or the 60? Now, if it's easier for you to just write the trig function for cosine for both and see which one works, you can do that. So for example, as soon as I've narrowed it down that it's a 30, 60, 90, try and do cosine 30 and cosine 60 and see which gives us the answer that's this. So again, cosine uses adjacent over hypotenuse. So when I'm referencing the 30, adjacent is root 3 and the hypotenuse is the 2. When I do it in reference to the 60, adjacent is 1, hypotenuse is 2. Which answer matches the one that they started with? The 30 or the 60?
30.
The 30. So get rid of this one. So I know now my reference angle is 30. So that's what I'm going to write in here. And then here I do 180 minus 30 and I get 150. 180 plus 30, I get 210. And then 360 minus 30, and this is 330. Now, my all students take calculus. This is how I can figure out which two I need. I want to figure out where cosine is negative. So I know cosine is positive, obviously in this one, and it's positive here. So the place where cosine is negative is in quadrants 2 and 3. So my answer here is 150 and 210. Reference angle could be the answer. Let's say the question was find cosine of positive root 3 over 2. Then those answers would have been 30 and 210.
but if it's negative,
Or
like if
30 and
you're finding
330.
a negative, then you'll never use the first quadrant.
If it's cosine, yeah. If it's a negative answer, right, because that's always positive there. Yes, I skipped tangent. This is the one I want for tangent. All right, so this is negative root 3. If I want to make this into a fraction so I can get my opposite and my adjacent, I'm going to put a 1 in the bottom. When I see a root 3, which triangle am I working with?
30, 60.
30, 60, 90. Good. So 30, 60, 90. Remember, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So let's label our sides. This is root 3, this is 1, this is 2. So for this one, I can see that my side opposite. So again, you could do both. Let's do both and see which one works. So if I do tangent of 30 and tangent of 60, if I'm doing 30, side opposite is 1, adjacent is root 3. For the 60, side opposite is square root 3 and adjacent. So which one is it? The 30 or the 60?
It's the 60.
It's the 60. So then now we're going to go ahead and do our all students take calculus, starting with our 60-degree reference angle. And then we we subtract it from 180. We add it to 180. And I subtract 60 from 360. Now, if you just want to memorize the numbers in this and not have to add and subtract from 180 and 360, you can do that. Now, my answer was negative. I need to figure out which quadrant tangent is negative. So obviously, number 1 is out because everything's positive, and then tangent's positive down here. So then my two answers are 120 and 300. And these are degrees. So again, to get the numbers that are in that different quadrants, remember once you figure out that it's 60, we're going to do 180 minus 60, and that's how we get the 120. 180 plus 60, and I get the 240. And then this one is found by doing 360 minus the reference angle, and you get 300. Then from there, you say your all students take calculus. Remember my original answer up here, or question, was negative. So I have to cross off the numbers that are in a quadrant where tangent's negative, or positive, sorry. Yes. The acronym all students take calculus, all of them are positive here. The only ones that are positive where we're using the S is sine and its reciprocal. For the T for take, it's tangent and its reciprocal, which is cotangent. These are the positive ones. All the other 4 are negative. And then for the calculus, this is for cosine and its reciprocal. Those are the only positive ones. So that's where the trick comes in. All right, so for 12, there's no number here. So let me fill it in, and it's negative square root 3. Now, remember, we can turn this into a fraction by putting a 1 in the bottom. Remember, cosecant is the reciprocal to... Now, for this one, 13, sorry. So this one is wrong. This was the instructions for the other one. So this one is going to be plus and minus, let me write it in darker color, 2 square root 3 over 3. Now, whenever you see the plus minus, it's everything. All we have to do is figure out the reference angle though. So we don't know if it's the 30-degree reference angle or the 60, and this is where I can draw the triangle and then do the cosecant. So again, it's a 30, 60, 90. So if I draw the triangle here, add in the numbers. So then now what I'm going to do is I could, if it's easier for you to do cosecant of 30 and cosecant of 60 to see which one gives you this answer, you can do that. So again, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So I'm looking for hypotenuse over opposite. So hypotenuse is 2, and opposite to the 30 would be 1. Right away I can see this isn't the one, my reference angle, but let's confirm that the 60 is the correct one. We're doing hypotenuse over opposite. So 2 over square root 3. Once we rationalize, then it looks like our original question. So my reference angle here is the 60. So again, 60 goes here. 180 minus 60 is 120. 180 plus 60 is 240. And then 360 minus 60 is 300. So because of the plus minus, my answer is all 4.
So if the numbers in the original, the question look familiar.
So tangent, and it's going to be root 3 over 3. So 30, 60, 90 again. 60, 30, root 3, 2, 1. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So again, if you want to do tangent of 30, tangent of 60 to see which one works, you can do that. So in reference to the 30, my side opposite is 1 and my adjacent is square root 3. For tangent of 60, opposite and adjacent. Now, notice neither of them look like it yet, but if I rationalize the blue one, then it's my original question. So my reference angle is the 30. So again, 30. Then you'll do 180 minus 30 and get 150. 180 plus 30, 210. 360 minus 30, and you get 330. Now, this one doesn't have a plus minus. I want to find where tangent's positive. So obviously it's 1, because everything's positive there. And then for your all students take calculus, the take is for tangent. So the two answers are 30 and 210. So your work that's due tomorrow are all of these problems. Tomorrow we will finish up with the 5-3 notes. Tomorrow bring your calculators. We'll do the calculator portion of this lesson. That's it.